Parsha B'reisheet, Genesis 1.1 through 6.8. When God began to create heaven and the earth then was welter and waste, and darkness over the deep, and God's breath hovering over the waters. God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And it was evening, and it was morning, first day. And God said, "Let there be a vault in the midst of the waters, and let it divide water from water." And God made the vault, and it divided the water beneath the vault from the water above the vault, and so it was. And God called the vault heavens, and it was evening, and it was morning, second day. And God said, "Let the waters under the heavens be gathered in one space, so that the dry land will appear." And so it was. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering of waters he called seas. And God saw that it was good. And God said, "Let the earth grow grass, plants yielding seed of each kind, and trees bearing fruit of each kind, that has its seed within it upon the earth." And so it was. And the earth put forth grass, plants yielding seed, and trees bearing fruit of each kind. And God saw that it was good. And it was evening, and it was morning, third day. And God said, "Let there be lights in the vault of the heavens to divide the day from the night, and they shall be signs for the fixed times, and for days and years. And they shall be lights in the vault of the heavens to light up the earth." And so it was. And God made the two great lights, the great light for dominion of day, and the small light for dominion of night, and the stars. And God placed them in the vault of the heavens to light up the earth, and to have dominion over day and night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. And it was evening, and it was morning, fourth day. And God said, "Let the waters swarm with the swarm of living creatures, and let fowl fly over the earth across the vault of the heavens." And God created the great sea monsters and every living creature that crawls, which the water had swarmed forth of each kind, and the winged fowl of each kind, and God saw that it was good. And God blessed them, saying, "Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the water and the seas, and let the fowl multiply in the earth." And it was evening, and it was morning, fifth day. And God said, "Let the earth bring forth living creatures of each kind, cattle and crawling things, and wild beasts of each kind." And so it was. And God made wild beasts of each kind, and cattle of every kind, and all crawling things on the ground of each kind. And God saw that it was good. And God said, "Let us make a human in our image, by our likeness, to hold sway over the fish of the sea, and the fowl of the heavens, and the cattle, and the wild beasts, and all the crawling things that crawl upon the earth." And God created the human in his image. In the image of God he created him. Male and female he created them. And God blessed them, and God said to them, "Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth and conquer it, and hold sway over the fish of the sea, and the fowl of the heavens, and every beast that crawls upon the earth." And God said, "Look, I have given you every seed-bearing plant on the face of all the earth, and every tree that has fruit-bearing seed. Yours they will be for food. And to all the beasts of the earth, and to all the fowl of the heavens, and to all that crawls on the earth, which has the breath of life within it, the green plants for food." And so it was. And God saw all that he had done, and look, it was very good. And it was evening, and it was morning, the sixth day. Then the heavens and the earth were completed, and all their array. And God completed on the seventh day the task he had done. And he ceased on the seventh day from all the task he had done. And God blessed the seventh day and hallowed it. For on it he had ceased from all his task that he had created to do. This is the tale of the heavens and the earth when they were created. On the day the Lord God made earth and heavens, no shrub of the field being yet on the earth, and no plant of the field yet sprouted, for the Lord God had not caused rain to fall on the earth, and there was no human to till the soil, and wetness would well from the earth to water all the surface of the soil. Then the Lord God fashioned the humans, humus from the soil, and blew into his nostrils the breath of life. And the human became a living creature. And the Lord God planted a garden in Eden to the east, and he placed there the human he had fashioned. And the Lord God caused to sprout from the soil every tree lovely to look at, and good for food. And the tree of life was in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge, good and evil. Now a river runs out of Eden to water the garden, and from there splits off into 4 streams. The name of the first is Pishon, the one that winds through the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold. And the gold of that land is goodly. Bdellium is there, and lapis lazuli. And the name of the second river is Gihon, the one that winds through all the land of Cush. And the name of the third river is Tigris, the one that goes to the east of Ashur. And the fourth river is Euphrates. And the Lord God took the human and set him down in the Garden of Eden to till and watch it. And the Lord God commanded the human, saying, From every tree of the garden you may surely eat, but from the tree of knowledge good and evil you shall not eat. For on the day you eat from it, you are doomed to die. And the Lord God said, It is not good for the human to be alone. I shall make him a sustainer beside him. And the Lord God fashioned from the soil each beast of the field and each fowl of the heavens, and brought each to the human to see what he would call it. And whatever the human called a living creature, that was its name. And the human called names to all the cattle, and to the fowl of the heavens, and to all the beasts of the field. But for the human no sustainer beside him was found. And the Lord God cast a deep slumber on the human, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs, and closed over the flesh where it had been. And the Lord God built the rib he had taken from the human into a woman, and he brought her to the human. And the human said, This one at last, bone of my bones, and flesh of my flesh. This one shall be called woman, for from man was this one taken. Therefore does a man leave his father and his mother, and cling to his wife, that they become one flesh. And the two of them were naked, the human and his woman, and they were not ashamed. Genesis 3. Now the serpent was most cunning of all the beasts of the field that the Lord God had made. And he said to the woman, Though God said, You shall not eat from any tree of the garden. And the woman said to the serpent, From the fruit of the garden's trees we may eat, but from the fruit of the tree in the midst of the garden, God has said, You shall not eat from it, and you shall not touch it, lest you die. And the serpent said to the woman, You shall not be doomed to die, for God knows that on the day you eat of it, your eyes will be opened, and you will become as gods, knowing good and evil. And the woman saw that the tree was good for eating, and that it was lust to the eyes, and the tree was lovely to look at. And she took of its fruit and ate. And she also gave to her man with her, and he ate. And the eyes of the two were opened, and they knew they were naked. And they sewed fig leaves and made themselves loincloths. And they heard the sound of the Lord God walking about in the garden in the evening breeze. And the human and his woman hid from the Lord God in the midst of the trees of the garden. And the Lord God called to the human and said to him, "Where are you?" And he said, "I heard your sound in the garden, and I was afraid, for I was naked, and I hid." And he said, "Who told you that you were naked? From the tree I commanded you not to have you eaten?" And the human said, "The woman whom you gave by me, she gave me from the tree, and I ate." And the Lord said to the woman, "What is this you have done?" And the woman said, "The serpent beguiled me, and I ate." And the Lord God said to the serpent, "Because you have done this, cursed be you of all cattle and all beasts of the field. On your belly you shall go, and dust shall you eat all the days of your life. Enmity will I set between you and the woman, between your seed and hers. He will bite your head, and you will boot him with the heel." To the woman he said, "I will terribly sharpen your birth pangs. In pain shall you bear children. And for your man shall be your longing, and he shall rule over you." And to the human he said, "Because you listened to the voice of your wife, and ate from the tree that I commanded you, you shall not eat from it. Cursed be the soil for your sake. With pangs shall you eat from it all the days of your life. Thorn and thistle shall it sprout for you, and you shall eat the plants of the field. By the sweat of your brow shall you eat bread, till you return to the soil, for from there you were taken. For dust you are, and to dust you shall return." And the human called his woman's name Eve, for she was the mother of all that lives. And the Lord God made skin coats for the human and his woman, and he clothed them. And the Lord God said, "Now that the human has become like one of us, knowing good and evil, he may reach out and take as well from the tree of life and live forever." And the Lord God sent him from the Garden of Eden to till the soil from which he had been taken. And he drove out the human and set up east of the Garden of Eden the cherubim and the flame of the whirling sword to guard the way to the tree of life. Genesis 4. And the human knew Eve, his woman, and she conceived and bore Cain. And she said, "I have got me a man with the Lord." And she bore as well his brother Abel. And Abel became a herder of sheep, while Cain was a tiller of soil. And it happened in the course of time that Cain brought from the fruit of the soil an offering to the Lord. And Abel too had brought from the choice firstlings of his flock. And the Lord regarded Abel and his offering, but he did not regard Cain and his offering. And Cain was very incensed, and his face fell. And the Lord said to Cain, "Why are you incensed, and why is your face fallen? For whether you offer well or whether you do not, at the tent flap sin crouches, and for you it is longing, but you will rule over it." And Cain said to Abel his brother, "Let us go out into the field." And when they were in the field, Cain rose against Abel his brother and killed him. And the Lord said to Cain, "Where is Abel your brother?" And he said, "I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper?" And he said, "What have you done? Listen, your brother's blood cries out to me from the soil. And so cursed you shall be by the soil that gaped with its mouth to take your brother's blood from your hand. If you till the soil, it will no longer give you its strength. A restless wanderer shall you be on the earth." And Cain said to the Lord, "My punishment is too great to bear. Now that you have driven me this day from the soil, and I must hide from your presence, I shall be a restless wanderer on the earth, and whoever finds me will kill me. And the Lord said to him, Therefore, whoever kills Cain shall suffer sevenfold vengeance. And the Lord set a mark upon Cain, so that whoever found him would not slay him. And Cain went out from the Lord's presence and dwelled in the land of Nod, east of Eden. And Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bore Enoch. Then he became the builder of a city and called the name of the city, like his son's name, Enoch. And Irad was born to Enoch, and Irad begot Mechahuel, and Mechahuel begot Methusael, and Methusael begot Lamech, and Lamech took him 2 wives. The name of the one was Adah, and the name of the other was Zillah. And Adah bore Jabal. He was the first of tent dwellers with livestock. And his brother's name was Jubal. He was the first of all who play on the lyre and pipe. As for Zillah, she bore Tubal Cain, who forged every tool of copper and iron. And the sister of Tubal Cain was Naamah. And Lamech said to his wives, Adah and Zillah, O hearken my voice, you wives of Lamech, give ear to my speech. For a man have I slain for my wound, a boy for my bruising. For sevenfold Cain is avenged, and Lamech 77. And Adam again knew his wife, and she bore a son, and called his name Seth, as to say, God has granted me another seed in place of Abel, for Cain has killed him. As for Seth, to him, too, a son was born, and he called his name Enosh. It was then that the name of the Lord was first invoked. Genesis 5. This is the book of the lineage of Adam. On the day God created the human, in the image of God he created him. Male and female he created them. And he blessed them and called their name humankind on the day they were created. And Adam lived 130 years, and he begot in his likeness by his image, and called his name Seth. And the days of Adam after he begot Seth were 800 years, and he begot sons and daughters. And all the days Adam lived were 930 years. Then he died. And Seth lived 105 years, and he begot Enosh. And Seth lived after he begot Enosh 807 years, and he begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Seth were 912 years. Then he died. And Enosh lived 90 years, and he begot Kenan. And Enosh lived after he begot Kenan 815 years, and he begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Enosh were 905 years. Then he died. And Kenan lived 70 years, and he begot Mehalalel. And Kenan lived after he begot Mehalalel 840 years, and he begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Kenan were 910 years. Then he died. And Mahalalel lived 65 years, and he begot Jared. And Mahalalel lived after he begot Jared 830 years, and he begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Mahalalel were 895 years. Then he died. And Jared lived 162 years, and he begot Enoch. And Jared lived after he begot Enoch 800 years, and he begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Jared were 962 years. Then he died. And Enoch lived 65 years, and he begot Methuselah. And Enoch walked with God after he begot Methuselah 300 years, and he begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Enoch were 365 years, and Enoch walked with God, and he was no more, for God took him. And Methuselah lived 187 years, and he begot Lamech. And Methuselah lived after he begot Lamech 782 years, and he begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Methuselah were 969 years. Then he died. And Lamech lived 182 years, and he begot a son, and he called his name Noah, as to say, this one will console us for the pain of our hands' work from the soil which the Lord cursed. And Lamech lived after he begot Noah 595 years, and he begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Lamech were 777 years. Then he died. And Noah was 500 years old when he begot Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Genesis 6. And it happened as humankind began to multiply over the earth, and daughters were born to them, that the sons of God saw that the daughters of man were comely. And they took themselves wives howsoever they chose. And the Lord said, my breath shall not abide in the human forever, for he is but flesh. Let his days be 120 years. The Nephilim were then on the earth, and afterward as well, the sons of God having come to bed with the daughters of man, who bore them children. They are the heroes of yore, the men of renown. And the Lord saw that the evil of the human creature was great on the earth, and that every scheme of his heart's devising was only perpetually evil. And the Lord regretted having made the human on earth, and was grieved to the heart. And the Lord said, I will wipe out the human race I created from the face of the earth, from human to cattle, to crawling thing, to the fowl of the heavens, for I regret that I have made them.